Welcome back to Around the House. Today we are going to change the oil in a 2015 GMC Denali 6.2 liter engine. So we're underneath the car and I've got everything set up. First off, I've got my oil tray here, and this is actually a cattle or animal feed trough. I like it because it's flexible and it allows me to kind of bend it, so when I pour oil back into the jugs, the used oil, it's easier to pour. I also have this special tool I made here. It is a filter socket that I've welded to a wrench that fits perfectly here, so it's kind of a one-size-fits-all tool, and this comes up here on there and works quite well. So we're going to get at it here and break this nut loose. Sometimes I've got to use a little bit more leverage on this. Man, I think I got that really tight. Way tighter than it should be. There we go. One thing about this wrench is it doesn't give you as much leverage as a socket, but probably shouldn't be over tightening these anyway. So like this, make sure my pan is underneath. Carefully pull this out. And once this is out, I'll let it drain, and then we'll get back to you. I'm going to put my plug back in and get her tightened down. Always make sure you complete one step before you move on to the next thing, so you don't forget to tighten something down or add the oil, heaven forbid. Gotta slide this over a little bit to get a little more room to tighten this together. You can see how my little wrench works. Okay, now that's tight. Now see what we can do here. Take this, loosen the filter, just like this. There's not a lot of room in here, but it gives you the leverage you need. Oh, there it's starting. Let it drain out a little bit. And I've got the new filter in here. Okay, be careful, this is hot. The glove provides a little bit of a protection. And this, just be careful when you're dropping it down. You don't splash it in your oil. This is a lot of oil, it's 8 quarts or so. And let it drip a little bit more. And clean things up. And I've got a new filter, a Wix filter. I usually go between OEM and Wix, just wherever I end up picking things up. Wix is probably better. Let this thing drain, then you want to make sure that you clean the surface off here so that the O-ring on the filter didn't stick in there for some reason. So we'll let this drain for a minute or two and then get the new filter screwed back in. Okay, now I've got my Wix filter to put up in there, and I'm not going to show you, you'll just have to take my word for it. I have filled this with oil, fresh oil, which is better. It helps prime the system quicker when you first start it up. But I've also put a little film on the gasket that's at the top of the filter. This allows it to move smoothly when you tighten it down, so the rubber doesn't bind. So you get it to a point where it touches, and then the instructions say go 3/4 of a turn. Beyond that, so generally speaking, you can sometimes do it by hand if your hands are dry, but there's oil on this, so I get my little wrench and tighten it down about that 3/4, so that should be pretty good there. And we we just double check everything down here. Wipe down where you might have dropped some grease. I remembered I tightened that. I tightened that. And other than pulling out this tray of oil, the catcher, we're done down here. Okay, now we're at the top end here, and we're going to be filling the oil back in with fresh oil. Pull off the cap. You've noticed I wiped this down beforehand, and put this cap aside. This I got to be a little careful with because of the angle and the nature of my filter. But go ahead and put the specified oil in. This one specified 0W20, and it actually holds 8 quarts. So this jug here is 5 quarts, and then I've got another one that we will add 3 more. Okay, I already put 5 quarts in. Now I'm going to put 3 more, and this oil comes in a 2-pack. So what I've done is I've poured the oil in so you can see this isn't level, but just shy of 3 quarts, because you remember I put a pint or a cup or something like that into the filter. So I poured it in here so I can just pour the rest of this out and know exactly that I've made 8 quarts. So here we go. Get my filter or my funnel in place. Pour the rest in. The next step will be starting the vehicle, making sure it doesn't leak underneath, that the oil pressure light goes off, and everything looks good. And then I also take a picture of the mileage so that I know how many miles on the engine before I took it. I trust the mileage more than the online gauges. Online gauges about oil life, I'm not really sure what they're measuring, if it's miles or idle time or whatever it is, but I just feel more comfortable changing my oil in regular mileage intervals. Okay, once we have that off, carefully put our cap back, and we'll start it up and check everything, but otherwise that is an oil change in a 2015 GMC Denali 6.2 liter engine. Until next time, see you around the house. Okay, here's a little bonus material for you. As I said before in the video, I use this rubber pan, and I like it because it can catch a lot. It stays open, and then I can pick it up like this. Boy, this is a lot of oil. And then when I'm pouring the used oil into here, I just slowly squeeze the sides. Why don't you show how the sides are squeezed on the camera? And then I can pour this carefully back in. So I'm kind of creating a funnel out of this. I have to be careful and look on the sides. See how much oil I've got, because this is more than 5 quarts. Anyway, a little bonus material for you. See you later around the house.